When people first start thinking about emergency preparedness, they start buying rice and beans and those emergency food things you can get in the buckets and MREs and flour and sugar and salt and canned foods and soups and anything else that they can just buy a little extra of at the store. But most emergency preppers agree that the most important thing you can prep is water. Water, water, water. But most people avoid it because it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. Like, how do I store water? Where do I store water? Where am I going to put all that darn water? It's hard to have barrels of water stored in your house, right? Or if you live in an apartment, it's even worse. But there is a way to store water that is a little easier. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have months and months and months of water storage. I mean, some people, you're going to do that, and I think that that is super wise. But all we're going to start with here is a small amount of water. But first, let's talk about why it's so important to store water. Like, why do you need it? Why do I need so much water? All I'm going to do is brush my teeth and drink a little bit of water. Well, there's a lot more uses for water than you might think. You need water to live. You can only last about 3 days without water, and then you're just not going to last. You're going to die. And even along those first 3 days, if you don't have water, your body is going to start not functioning properly, and your mind is going to have problems. You're going to be dizzy, dehydrated. You're going to have heart palpitations. You're going to have all kinds of symptoms related to dehydration. And then you're not going to be able to make good decisions. So you're functioning, even before that 3 days when you're going to not make it, your functioning in general becomes impaired. You can have headaches, dizziness, confusion, fatigue, heart problems, circulation problems, digestive problems, all kinds of problems. The next reason you need water is because water systems in your town and city depend on electricity. And if for some reason that electricity is down, your water system can go down as well. So most people think it'll just keep coming out of the tap like it always does, but that's not always the case. If there's a major emergency, a cyber attack, or if there's some kind of infrastructure damage because you're in an area where there has been some, well, let's face it, military action of some sort. If your water has become unsafe for some reason, if there was some kind of an attack or a natural disaster, you can have contamination from pipes that break, that leak. You can have sewage that leaks. You can have bacteria that are growing in the water. So you can end up being on a boil-only water advisory in your area that can last for weeks. And that's if the water's even coming out of the pipes. So if it's not coming out of the pipes, you don't have anything to boil. But if you have stored water, you don't even have to boil the water. As long as you've maintained your water, you changed it out every now and then, you check it to make sure it hasn't become contaminated itself, which you do need to do. And I have a video about that if you want to go check that out. But if your water is stored and it's in good shape, then you don't have to do any of that, and you'll be fine for several weeks at least if you have enough water stored. And water is needed for way more than just drinking. You need it for cooking, you need it for cleaning, you need it for brushing your teeth, basic hygiene. You're going to need it if you have medicine you need to take, if you have pets, if you have wounds to clean, you're going to need good, clean water. And we all know that water disappears first in a crisis. We all experienced that during COVID. And you know, if there's a natural disaster or some kind of other attack here, water will be the first thing that goes. People will buy up all the bottled waters, the large and small. It doesn't matter. People are going to go to Costco and stock up. They'll all be gone. The shelves will be empty of water. And it will take weeks before the stores can restock that, if they're even able to get enough in. So as you can see, water solves many emergency problems. It can help with hydration, decontamination, cooking food, medical care, cleaning. Very few emergency supplies are as useful as water in so many different situations. So how much should you store? A gallon per day per person. So one person is 14 gallons for 2 weeks. A family of 4, that's 56 gallons of water. And I will show you what I use to store my water in. I can pop it up, a picture of it up here or up there somewhere. I use 5-gallon storage containers that I just bought on Amazon. And what's so great about this type of storage container is you don't need a large area to store your water. In fact, you don't even have to store all your water in the same location, but you could stack it in different ways because they are stackable, or you can just do things like slide them under beds. Several different beds. Just make sure that that the caps are on properly so they don't accidentally leak, because that would be a mess. I haven't had that happen, but if you don't have those lids on there properly, then you may have a problem. If you don't want to buy those 5-gallon containers from Amazon, and I get it, they're expensive. You may not want to buy those things. You could just go to the store. I mean, temporary solution is you just go buy those little gallon or two, I think they're 2.5-gallon containers with the handle at the grocery store. Just go start picking those up. Just get extra ones. And those actually are pretty good for storing as well. I would probably put them like tipped up so that the nozzle at the top is at the top instead of on the side, because if for some reason they leaked, I wouldn't totally trust those ones to stay watertight for a great length of time, maybe for a year, but not beyond that. So you could get those, put them in different locations. You could put them put a few in your closet, put a few under the bed, put a few in a cupboard. I mean, if you're just one person, 14 gallons isn't a lot. So it's just you in an apartment situation. You just have to put a little here, a little there. You're gonna distribute it around your place. Prepping is not about fear. It's about being prepared and preventing panic, because people without water will panic. People without food might be a little bit desperate, but if they don't have water, very quickly people will get desperate, and you will get desperate. So let's just say you can't do 2 weeks of water. You know what? You could do 3 days. You can have 3 days of water just for yourself. If it is just yourself, or for your family, you could just have 3 days. That's 4 people times 3. That's 12 gallons of water. That is a great start. If you have nothing right now, that is a great start. That is enough to give you time to think about, what am I going to do next? How am I going to get out of this situation? Where can I go? Who do I know that can help me, or where can I go that gets me out of this situation quickly? Okay, if you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, and share. I would really appreciate it. And go check out my next video. I'll leave a link for it. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, I thought you might like to check out this video next. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.